All right, let's talk about cholesterol, but not in the way you're used to. We're going to go way beyond the whole good versus bad cholesterol story. We're going to dig into what your standard blood test might be missing and uncover the real drivers of heart disease. So, let me ask you this. Have you ever gotten your lab results back and the doctor says everything looks normal, but you just don't feel normal? You're tired, you feel foggy, something's just off. It's super frustrating, right? Well, you're not imagining things, and today we're going to figure out why that happens. So, first things first, we need to completely rethink the test itself. We're going to start with that standard lipid panel you get every year and break down why it might not be giving you the complete picture of your heart health. Okay, so here it is, the classic lineup. You've probably seen these numbers a million times. And look, it's a decent starting point. It's cheap, it's easy, it gives you a quick snapshot. But here's the problem. These numbers can be completely, deceptively normal while hiding some serious risks bubbling just under the surface. Now, this is where the story gets really interesting. Let's zoom in on the main character in this drama, LDL, what everyone calls the bad cholesterol. But you're about to see why that label is a massive oversimplification. So, your standard test measures something called LDL-C. That's basically how much cholesterol is packed inside your LDL particles. But here's the game changer. A more advanced test measures LDL-P, and that's the total number of particles themselves. And according to a ton of research, the number of particles is a way better predictor of your risk. Let me show you why that's so important. This is the perfect way to think about it. Imagine your arteries are a highway. The LDL particles are the cars, and the cholesterol they're carrying are the passengers. Your basic LDL-C test is just counting the passengers. But the LDL-P test, it's counting the actual number of cars on the road. And think about it. What causes a traffic jam? It's not the number of passengers, it's too many cars. That traffic jam, that's the plaque building up in your arteries. The number of cars is the real danger here. But wait, it gets even more specific. Not all the cars are the same. You've got these big, fluffy LDL particles, which are pretty harmless. They're kind of like big SUVs that just cruise along. But then, you have these small, dense LDL particles, and these are the real troublemakers. They're like little sports cars that can easily swerve off the road, slip right through the lining of your arteries, and start causing a whole lot of damage. Your standard test doesn't tell you which kind you have. So, if the LDL number isn't the whole story, what's actually causing all this damage in the first place? Well, a mountain of evidence is now pointing to a new prime suspect: chronic, low-grade inflammation. This right here is the key. Cholesterol isn't really the villain, not on its own. It's the inflammation that comes in first and damages the artery walls. Think of it like this. Inflammation is what makes the surface of the highway all rough and sticky. That's what causes those small, dense LDL cars to crash and start piling up. Without that inflammation, they'd be much more likely to just pass on by. Okay, so that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If inflammation is lighting the match, what's starting the fire? The answer, for a lot of people, is hiding in a place you might not expect. And the answer, believe it or not, is in your gut. We can trace so much of this chronic systemic inflammation back to the health of your digestive system. It's something we now call the gut-heart axis. Okay, let me introduce you to this molecule. It's called lipopolysaccharide, or LPS. You can just think of it as an endotoxin. It's part of the cell wall of certain bacteria that live in your gut. Now, it's supposed to stay in your gut, but when it escapes into your bloodstream, your immune system totally freaks out and launches a massive inflammatory response. And this is exactly how that happens. It starts with an imbalance in your gut bacteria. That can lead to what people call leaky gut, where the lining of your intestine gets damaged and becomes permeable. This lets those inflammatory LPS molecules sneak out into your bloodstream. And what happens next? Your body goes on high alert, triggering system-wide inflammation that, over years, can really damage your arteries and set the stage for heart disease. So I know we've covered a lot: particle numbers, sizes, gut health, inflammation. It can seem complicated. But what if I told you there's one simple number that's probably already on your standard lab report that can give you powerful insight into this entire interconnected system? This is it. This is the smoking gun for so many people, the triglyceride-to-HDL ratio. You literally just take your triglyceride number and divide it by your HDL number. It's that simple. And this little ratio is an incredibly powerful window into your level of insulin resistance, which is a major driver of those small, dense LDL particles and the whole metabolic mess we've been talking about. So what's the goal? Well, the research is pretty clear that for optimal health, you want your TG to HDL ratio to be less than 1.4. Once that number starts creeping up, it's a huge warning sign that things are out of balance and your cardiovascular risk is going up. And check this out. It's not just a small thing. The data shows that for every single 1-point increase in this ratio, your odds of being in a high-risk category for heart disease jump significantly. That's an incredible insight from a calculation you can do in 5 seconds. So the big takeaway here is that we have to shift our focus. We need to stop playing whack-a-mole, trying to force one cholesterol number down. The real goal is to improve the health of the entire system by getting to the root causes. And what does that actually look like? Well, it's a holistic approach. It means actively working to lower chronic inflammation. It means improving your body's sensitivity to insulin. It means healing and balancing your gut. It's all about supporting all of your body's interconnected systems to build a truly solid foundation of health. And this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? This is the new way of thinking. It's not about chasing a normal lab value. It's about building a body that is fundamentally balanced, efficient, and resilient so it can handle whatever life throws its way. So the next time you look at a lab report, I want you to look beyond that total cholesterol number. Look deeper. Calculate that TG to HDL ratio, and most importantly, ask yourself this question: what story are my numbers really telling me?